everybody, today I'm doing my wrap-up video for January and then as well as my to-be-read list for February. So far it's been a pretty good 2014. I managed to get 15 books read in the month of January, so about half a book a day. So the books that I read were a mix of books on my e-reader and physical copies that I own. Wait for You by Jennifer Armentrout, writing as Lynn. This is her new adult name. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. It was a good storyline, I just found it a little bit predictable, which does kind of seem to be a theme for a lot of the books that I read this month. Legend by Marie Lu, and this one I gave 4 stars. It was a really interesting first book in the series. Again, a little bit predictable, but it really did set up the next 2 books nicely. So, Die For Me by Amy Plum, and this one was also 4 stars. This one, again, a little bit predictable, and I had a really hard time putting this one down. I just wanted to know more, and I loved all the characters. Finders Keepers by Nicole Williams, also 4 stars. He was kind of a jerk in the first book, and then we got to see a better side of him in the second, so getting to read his story was really good, and I just found so many new sides to this character. My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick, 3 stars, again predictable, but it was just a nice, feel-good kind of summery read. Let the Sky Fall by Shannon Messenger, again 3 stars and predictable, and I just felt like there was a lot of build-up to not a lot of surprises. Angelfall by Susan E., and this one was 4 stars. So many dystopian books out there, so throwing in a more paranormal type plot along with it was really interesting. The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, and this one was 4 stars. It was my first reread of the year, and I just absolutely love this series. After I read this book, I watched the first movie, and within the next few months I want to reread The Two Towers and The Return of the King and also watch those movies. Fangirl by Rowell, and this is one that I have been seeing on so many channels, and so many people have loved it, and I just kept putting it off, and now I just wonder why I put it off for so long, because I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was just, I flew through this book because I wanted to know more. I needed to know what was going to happen, and even though this one was also a little bit predictable, I didn't care. So the author did such a good job of just making me not care that I knew what was going to happen. I really loved how some of the chapters of the book that the character loved and some of the fan fiction that she had written was included throughout the chapters, so that just made me want to read those books too. Fan Art by Sarah Tregay. This one was 3 stars. Again, it's predictable contemporary, but it was a good read. It was just predictable. Push by Sapphire, and this one was 2.5 stars. There's a lot of horrible things that happen in it, but sometimes it felt like it was too much. They were just going for shock value instead of, kind of, maybe if it had been a little bit more subtle, then it would have made more of an impact. Instead, The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein, I think is how you pronounce his last name, and I gave this one 4 stars. It was a really good read. It made me cry. It made me feel so many different emotions. I love books about animals. It's not some that I usually read all that often, because you don't really see all that much in YA unless they're werewolves or shapeshifters. Wild by Alex Mallory, and this one was 3.5 stars. This one's a retelling of Tarzan, so that was really different and interesting right from the beginning. The characters are really interesting, especially Cade, who is the version of Tarzan in this book, so seeing how he reacts to the new modern world, and just some of the questions that he was asking about why people did certain things was kind of eye-opening in some ways. House of Ivy and Sorrow by Natalie Whipple. I think that's how you pronounce her last name at least. And this one was also 3.5 stars. I really liked that they showed the darker side of magic, where if this character wants to cast a spell, there must be a sacrifice, and the bigger the spell, the bigger the sacrifice. The biggest problem I had with this one is that at times the characters seemed kind of juvenile. They were supposed to be like 16 or 17, but the that they were acting, they just seemed a lot younger sometimes. The Murder Complex by Lindsay Cummings, and this one was 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. There was a lot of action in it. Dystopian, and there's some elements that were the same as other dystopians, and then there was some that were just really disturbing. Near the end, the action picked up really fast, and the pacing just got really, really fast. It left me feeling like I had to read very carefully or else I might miss something. So I'm going to be reading in February. Uninvited by Sophie Jordan. Her Dark Curiosity by Megan Shepherd. Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I am finally getting around to this series. The Pledge by Kimberly Derting. And Drink Deep by Chloe Neill. So I hope everybody had a really good January and got lots of books read, and maybe some books bought as well. Alright, so that's all for now, and I will see everybody next time.